Good evening and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV with me, Stephen, and as always, joined by G over in London. And tonight we also are honoured to have a very special guest in Chris Davison joining us. How are you, gents?
Good, thank you. Good, pleasure to be on your show. Thanks for having me. Hope you're both well.
I'm good. I hope everybody watching is good as well.
Yeah, so tonight we want to go over obviously last night's game against Sheffield United. A great 3-0 win. We really needed that after Thursday night, and obviously going into this Thursday. We have a little bit of a quiz, and obviously we want to get to know Chris a bit more. So with that being said, I think we'll roll the title and we'll get into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
So good evening. Gents, how's the mood today? I mean, for me, I know I have been a lot happier today than I have been for the last few days. It's, coming off a great win last night, great performance. Everything just kind of clicked for us last night with a slightly different team, which we'll go over in a few minutes. But, I was feeling good. Chris, how was your day?
Yeah, it was good, thank you. And nice to get a win under our belts as well after, as you mentioned earlier, a tough week last week. It was overall a fantastic performance. Some lovely goals in there as well. You can really fault the team's performance last night. So obviously some are arguing that it was only Sheffield United, bottom of the league, but still you've got to go there and put in a good shift. And I feel that we've done that, and it was quite comfortable. So obviously important to get the 3 points, important to bounce back after, like I said, the last couple of results, and most importantly, heading into Thursday's game, which is absolutely huge. It was crucial that we bounced back last night and get back into more of a positive spirit and get the smiles back on some faces, because obviously the mood around the camp, I'm sure, would have been disappointed after not only the Liverpool game but then the Slavia first leg. Overall very happy with the performance. Good result, and now all eyes on Thursday night. Absolutely crucial game, and hopefully the win yesterday has done the world of good for all the players.
Absolutely. Jay?
Yeah, so for me, I really wasn't confident going into the game, and I think that was just not so much to do with the opposition. It was probably just the fact that, as Chris said, we kind of came off the back of the Liverpool game, which for me was a dreadful performance. It wasn't so much about the result, but just kind of how we played, and then obviously the disappointment of conceding a late goal midweek. So going into the match, I wasn't very confident because it just kind of had a bit of a nightmare written all over it, like bottom of the league. You kind of expected to win. Obviously, we'd lost to them earlier on in the season. So I just thought to myself, this game is just kind of set up for Arsenal to have a poor performance. But so wasn't confident, but absolutely thrilled with the way the guys played. And as Chris said, some beautiful goals, which I know we'll discuss a little bit later in the show. But yeah, it's just good to, get a clean sheet, 3 good goals, and we can kind of just, move into, the rest of the season, and most importantly, Thursday, with a win under our belt. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, we were expected to win the match. We should have won the game. We did win the game, but there are no easy games in the Premiership. So we'd be the first to sit here and criticize them, had they come out and put on a poor performance, or if they weren't at their game. And the fact that they did, then, we got to give credit where credit's due. So yeah, really, really happy. It's just nice to get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, panel. Evening, Alex. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we're obviously an up-and-coming new sort of YouTube channel. So we thought, who better to get on than an up-and-coming journalist? So that's why we approached Chris and asked him to come on, and we're absolutely delighted that you give us a bit of your time tonight, Chris. For those watching who aren't familiar with this, do you want to tell us a wee bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Firstly, thanks for having me on your show. It's an absolute pleasure. So back in 2015, I set up my Twitter account, and my intention was to only set it up and just as a normal Arsenal fan wanting to sort of get the latest news and ins and outs at the club, and also to tweet my own views and opinions on the going-ons at the football club as well. But growing up, I've always had a huge passion for the media side of things in football, for the journalism side of things, and watching Sky Sports on transfer deadline day, or just being on my phone on Twitter, getting all the latest news from other respected journalists who have covered the club over the years. Always got that buzz off it, and I thought, I want to be doing that one day. So I thought I'd use my Twitter account and start my own blog. I started interviewing some journalists who cover various leagues around the world, and get their views on players that Arsenal have just signed. I remember getting in touch with a Bundesliga commentator and asking him about Socrates and Bernd Leno when they first joined the club, and got in touch with some French journalists to speak about Guendouzi, etc. And the reaction to that was quite positive, and I thought, this is good. I enjoy doing it, and ever since then, really, people started reaching out for me to come on podcasts, and other various sports sites wanted me to do blogs and articles for them. And over the last few years, my Twitter account is grown and grown, really, and the following has increased, and way beyond any expectations that I had when I first set up my Twitter account. I think I just got over 40,000. Yeah. I mean, I've got about just over 40,000 followers now. I can remember the days when I just had about 100 or 200. It's crazy. I've been really, really fortunate to gain so many followers over the years, and to have so much support and the kind words that have come in. It's good to see the hard work pay off, because as they say, you've got to start somewhere. I did start somewhere. I wasn't up until about a year or two ago. I didn't get anything from what I'd done, no payments or anything. I didn't get paid for what I'd done. It was all out of my own time, but it's just because I had such a big passion for journalism and for to cover the club that we all love as well. Made it even more special to me. So yeah, I've been really fortunate to write articles for some great sites, some great companies, and to speak to so many well-respected people on the platform. And my message would be to any aspiring young journalist out there is to get yourself on the social media platforms and get your content out there, because without Twitter, I wouldn't be in this situation I am right now. It really is as simple as that. And I know for a fact that most people in my situation right now, and people that have made it all the way to the top would say exactly the same. Although Twitter can have its downfalls and can be a nasty place to be on at times, 90% of the time it's fantastic. You meet some great people, and it's just a great way of getting your content out there and showing the world what you can do. And that's what I've tried to do, and that's what I will continue trying to try and do. And like I said, always posting about Arsenal, the latest news, and along with my own views and opinions every day now as part of my life. Yeah, I mean, you always get one or two who don't agree with you, and that's fine. But it's all part of the fun, isn't it? And it's all part of the debating, and it's I've found it enjoyable over the years to be a part of it, and to make to make some friends, to get to know some real nice people in the Arsenal family. Being based in East Anglia, it's not always easy for me to get up to the Emirates on match days or wherever. But I'll always try and do that when possible. But especially over the pandemic and all of that, it's been a good place to take your mind off things and to get chatting to people, and also get content out there. So really, really fortunate. Forever thankful and grateful for all of the kind words and support that I've received, and even to you guys just for having me on your podcast tonight. It means a lot, and it's a pleasure to be on here. Thank you so much.
So, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, you'll never please everybody all the time. We get it as well the odd time. And as I always say, and I've said it on this show many times, I have no problem with people disagreeing with what we say. I have no problem with people having different opinions. All I'll ever say is if you don't agree or you have a different opinion, give me a reason. I don't expect everybody to agree with everybody, but just come with a valid reason. Don't just say I'm right, you're wrong. Give us a proper reason. I'm sure you feel the same way. If people are willing to engage in a debate but give you good reasons, you're more than happy to have the debates with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you come about being an Arsenal fan then?
Well, it was sort of growing up through my family, and my uncle was a huge Arsenal fan. He'd been part of the Norfolk Arsenal supporters group for many years. Been to so many games, not just at home, but so many away games as well, in the UK and abroad. And yeah, as I said, growing up, he brainwashed me to be an Arsenal fan. He wouldn't have it any other way. It would be a disaster growing up anyone else. And I can tell you, he'd done a very good job. Sadly, he passed away in 2007, and he passed down a lot of Arsenal memorabilia. And I've still got to this day, it's hanging up in my bedroom. A signed Arsenal crest from the 2005-06 squad, which the players and Wenger signed for him when they found out he was ill. It's just, I obviously see it every day hanging up, and it's just a strong reminder of how classy this football club is, and obviously it reminds me of my uncle who made me such a huge gooner, and just ever since he passed away, all I've ever wanted to do is make him proud, and also carry on that legacy within the family of being an Arsenal fan, and I couldn't be a more bigger, enthusiastic, passionate gooner if I tried, really, and it's all down to him. And I mean, I must admit, if I could still speak to him now, I'd ask him why Arsenal, because the stress that they put us through is it's up there, isn't it? It gets the heart rate going. Thanks to my uncle, I'm a huge Arsenal fan now, and always have been, always will be now. And I couldn't imagine supporting another football club. It's been a huge part of my life growing up, and now it's even more important part of my life of what I do and what I'm wanting to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine he would be very proud of you. I mean, the effort you go to and the hard work you've put in to try and get to where you've got to now, and obviously, as you say, where you want to go. So I imagine if he's looking down on you, he will be very happy with you.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we like to do sometimes is have a little bit of a quiz, a bit of fun. This is as much for you guys as it is for those watching live. And if you are watching live, please join in. Drop the things, the names and stuff in the comment section. So we're going to do a little bit of a picture quiz. So I'm going to bring up some pictures. They are obviously obscure a little,
for this,
to make it a bit more challenging. And basically, when you think you know who it is, just shout out the answer. You guys watching at home, get ready to type it into the comments. Let me just bring the comment section up there. You ready to play?
Ready as I'll ever be.
I was born ready.
All right. You ready?
Oh man, come on, Stephen.
Here's the first one. So, who is this player?
Lacazette.
No.
Boy, I don't even know.
I was going to say Ozil, but he didn't play much that season, did he?
No. I'll give you a slight clue.
Yeah, go on.
He does have a tendency to bite his t-shirt.
Is it Xhaka?
Chris saying Ramsey. No, it's not Ramsey. No, it's not Xhaka.
I don't even know.
Ryan Holding. No, it's not Holding.
Torreira.
Oh, not a bad show. You've seen him do it a few times.
No.
I ain't got a clue.
No, I ain't.
I'll check.
Nah.
Oh, I think I know. Hector Bellerin.
Yes, well done.
Oh, man. 1-0 to Chris.
It was.
That was a
It's
good
all on my
one.
screen as well. It's as if I'm right in my camera looking.
Yeah, I
at it.
know. Well, yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like this all the time.
There you go. There's the original picture.
Yeah. Well done. That was a good shot.
Well done, Chris. 1 up. Right.
Good start.
Get the
Good
next
start.
one ready. Here we go. Number 2.
Is that Martinelli?
Nope.
No.
It's not Aziz, is it?
Remember, guys at home. What did you say, Chris?
He said
Aziz?
Aziz. It's Aziz, isn't it?
It is Aziz.
Oh my
Well
God.
done. 2-0.
How many more pictures have we got?
There's 5 in total.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
Cool.
Not
So
over yet, G.
I've basically got to get 3 to even to win. Oh mate,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Hold on there. Remove that screen.
2-0. Oh mate, what's going on?
Right. This one's a bit easier.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Louise.
Yeah.
Yes. Straight
Had
in
to.
there, G. Well done.
I had to be quick. I was like, nah. Had to be quick. 2-1.
And there you go. There's the original picture. So I'll get the next one. These, by the way, are courtesy of our good friend over in South Africa, who is Dangerous Gunner at Gunner Dangerous. He does these up for me, which I really appreciate because I haven't got that much technical knowledge. Right, this one's quite easy. And I expect you both to get this really quickly.
Matt Ryan.
Yep. Easy.
I couldn't even think, I couldn't even think. That's it. The game done. Last one is a consolation. Come on.
3-1. I'm not even bothering to bring the picture up on that one. Right, here we go. Last one. Yeah, and this one's quite easy as well.
Oh, Balogun.
Yes, the man of the moment. Hopefully signing his new contract.
Yeah, hopefully.
So let's see. Let's bring the original up just to verify it. There you go.
Yeah.
Flo Balogun. So Chris, you win 3-2. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised.
Just come on my channel and beat me like that, man.
I surprised myself, to be honest. I thought I'd probably do worse than that, but
No, do you know what? I asked him not to make them too hard. He was going to use a lot of older players, but I just thought, G's never going to get them. So,
Oh, what is this? Listen. Enough of that, yeah. Enough of that.
Chris, if you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch our show from St. Patrick's Day.
No, don't.
Yeah. G's knowledge of Irish players who've played for Arsenal, it's not good. He didn't know who the record appearance holder was.
I grew up in London. I'm originally from like South London. I now live in East London. My knowledge of Irish players is limited. But don't worry, I'm coming for you, Stephen.
probably would have been the same, G. Don't worry about it. I probably would have done even worse.
So Ryan, Louise, yes, you were right. Chris as well in there with Louise and Ryan with Balogun. Well done. So yeah, just a wee bit of fun. Just before we get on to sort of the more serious stuff of talking about Arsenal and the results and things like that. So I think what we'll obviously do now is we'll look at last night's game. It was a good victory, 3-0 win for us. And we'll start off, we'll go through the starting lineup. So this is how we lined up. We went with Leno in goal. We had Chambers at right back, Holding and Murray in the centre of defence with Xhaka on the left, which I know I was a bit surprised about. Even when you seen the lineup come up from Arsenal, you had Saka was the 5th name down on the list. So, I mean, when I put out the team news last night, I automatically went, well, Saka's playing at left back. But he threw a curveball in there and put Xhaka in. We had Ceballos and Partey in the centre of midfield. And again, I thought Ceballos was going to line up at number 10. And that worried me a little because I don't think he's great at number 10. We had Pepe on the right, Saka in the middle, Martinelli on the left, and Lacazette up front. So, Chris, what was your thoughts when you seen the lineup?
Like you, Stephen, I was quite surprised about Xhaka playing at fullback. Although, upon reflection, a great job done by him. Very composed, very solid. Again, I think no surprise with Chambers at right back. Obviously, Hector played during the week. He played against Slavia. When we've seen Chambers at right back, he's done very well, in my opinion. He's been quite solid. Obviously, we've got Louise out at the moment. So we had Mari at left back. Obviously, again, Gabriel playing midweek. So it was time to give him a rest. And Holding right centre backs, no real surprise there. In terms of Ceballos last night, again, I thought when I saw his name on the team sheet, didn't really know what to expect because, again, he's been one of those players who have been a bit hit and miss, but I thought he was absolutely superb last night. He does like a game at Bramall Lane, doesn't he? He done well. But obviously the standout name for me last night on that team sheet was Martinelli. So good to see him back in the starting lineup again. After what has been a tough few months for him, coming back from injury and not really having much of an opportunity in the team until last night. Great performance from him, all things considered. Had a few good opportunities in the first half, could have scored in the first half as well. But I said it on Twitter last night, I just think we look so much more dangerous going forward with him in the team, his energy, his work rate. There's no doubt about it. He's still got a lot of things to improve. He's still young, but he just excites me. He really does. And it was just a breath of fresh air in that team last night. Really, really good to see him back. Did have a mini heart attack when he went down holding his ankle, not going to lie. But as Mikel said, he's a tough boy. Should be all right for Thursday. But just talking about injuries, obviously concerned with Saka. I did think that actually when I saw him involved last night, I was a little bit concerned of maybe overusing him in recent weeks. Obviously, he picked up an injury. He wasn't available for England during the international break, and was a little bit concerned as to what the issue was and if it was going to be a long-lasting one. Lots of people saying last night it was just a dead leg, but he did have ice on it and was still hobbling after the game. But fingers crossed, it's nothing too serious. Mikel wasn't sure what it was after the game either, but I'm sure they've done more tests today and they'll be assessing them ahead of Thursday. But boy, do we need him! And like I said last night, it's the last thing we want. More attacking-minded players. Out with obviously Odegaard, struggling through injury as well. He's another one who I hope to see back soon. In terms of the rest of the lineup last night, not too surprising, really. I thought Partey had a better game last night. I think, again, he has struggled since he arrived in North London. He's not been the player we all know he can be, but I think gradually he's getting there. Obviously, he's had a few injury problems himself as well, so it's not been easy. But he had a solid game last night. What a lovely pass for, I think it was the Lacazette's second, lovely turn, and then the through ball to Laka, and then it was a great finish as well. So you'd like to think now with the likes of Partey in there, with Martinelli back starting as well, we'll start to see a few of those players get their confidence up with more minutes under their belt, and obviously with some solid performances in there. It should be good for their confidence. And, obviously coming up to Thursday, it's really important that we do get that confidence up within the squad and they're performing well because, as I'm sure we'll go on to, Thursday's a huge game. So, all in all, not apart from obviously Xhaka at left back last night, the team wasn't too surprising and it was more than strong enough to get the job done. So, very pleased.
I think just on the Saka one, sorry, just before you come in, I don't know if you've seen, there was video came out of him after the match, actually leaving the ground, and he seemed to be walking fine. Hopefully it is just more of a dead leg than any sort of muscle injury. Because as you say, we really need him fit for Thursday night. everything sort
Absolutely.
of goes through him now. G, how are you feeling when you seen the lineup?
Yeah, so when the lineup came out, I kind of had mixed feelings, really. I couldn't really work out how we were kind of really going to line up at that point, given the kind of personnel. I kind of guessed, as you did, that, Tobias was going to be in the number 10 position. Saka was going to be left back. Xhaka was going to be in the middle. So obviously surprising how they actually lined up when they took to the field. But yeah, wasn't really surprised with the lineup. Or the personnel, I should say. Obviously Leno in goal. Chambers, exactly kind of echoing what Chris said. Chambers has been doing a decent job at right back, so not surprised to see him. I thought Mari was solid in that game. I thought both Mari and Holding had good games, but every time I see Mari, he just massively impressed me. He's just so composed on the ball. He's good in the air, and I feel as though, even though Gabriel for me kind of has more, I would say, attributes to kind of suit the Premier League in terms of pace, in terms of power, in terms of kind of, duels and so forth. I just feel like Mari is just that commander. He's just that kind of calming presence at the back that we really do miss when he's not in the side. And I think Arteta's going to have a real issue moving forward with kind of who to play between the two, because I'm a massive favour of having a settled back four, or whatever the defenders you are going to move forward with. I don't really like too much change at the back. And so I think it's going to be hard to kind of juggle between, obviously, the campaign next season is going to be a huge amount of games. There will be room for rotation, but, there's a real argument that Gabriel and Mari should both be in the side. But obviously we've only got the one position for the left centre back. So it's going to be a good problem to have for Arteta moving forward. Obviously, surprised that Xhaka was at left back, but saying that, he did a great job. No real complaints. He was solid throughout. I have to admit, when I saw the Ceballos on the team sheet, for me, I was a little bit like, what Ceballos are we going to get tonight? Because it's one of those things where he can have a game like he did against Sheffield United, and then he can have a defensive error, not really be on his game. So wasn't over the moon that he was playing, but we can get into the goals in a little bit. Yeah, what performance. I thought he was kind of back to his best against Sheffield United. So really pleased that, at the end of the day, we're not Arteta. We don't see them training. We don't see what goes into when he's picking these teams. So credit to him. He brought him in the side and he had a really good game. Up front, obviously we had Pepe on the right, Saka in the middle, Martinelli on the left. I think a lot of Arsenal fans have just been really kind of craving to see Martinelli, so it was really nice for him to get a start, get some minutes, and obviously get his goal. And I think we've got real good options, up top. I think Lacazette deserved his start. I think he's been consistent throughout the season. I think officially he is our top goal scorer now this season, I think with 15 goals. 15. Yeah, so it was a good team. I was worried with some of the personnel, some of the selections, but generally I thought it was a good enough team to obviously win the game, and so it proved. So the game kind of started. I wasn't too, even though we controlled the match, and we had a lot of the play, and we were kind of getting the odd half chance, etc. I wasn't too thrilled with the opening section of the match, but obviously we took the lead on the 33rd minute with an absolute beautiful goal, beautiful move. What did you make of the actual goal and the move, Chris?
Oh, it was beautiful, wasn't it? That was a typical Arsenal goal. It's sort of all the football you want to see Arsenal playing back to their best there. We've seen similar goals, similar moves. I always, the one that always sticks with me because it's one of my favourite Arsenal goals is the one against Norwich at home. Cazorla, Giroud, Flick, Wilshere. It's beautiful. I think we've seen similar goals against Sunderland at the Emirates in the past, and obviously I remember that one under Unai Emery against Leicester. Just the one-touch pass move, and it was excuse me, it's absolutely brilliant to watch. And we haven't seen that for a long time, have we? Saw that football from Arsenal, that confidence, that skill, and it was brilliant. I loved it, and it's one of those ones where you can just watch it over and over again, never get bored of it. So brilliant goal.
What about you, Stephen? Good goal?
Yeah, I think, as Chris says, it was sort of going back to the days of old. The one thing that really impressed me about it actually was Laka's movement on it, because obviously it was partly into Laka, Laka onto Saka to Ceballos, and then by that stage, Lacazette had run in behind, and obviously, the vision from Ceballos to know that he was there, but it was, like I say, it was the run from Lacazette really impressed me. I thought he was very good last night. So yeah, I mean, it was a great goal. It was reminiscent of that sort of Jack Wilshere against Norwich, and as you say, it wasn't a great. We controlled the game at the start, but we weren't really creating anything. So it was good to get the goal and sort of settle things down. And I tweeted out straight away, we've got one now. Let's go on and get another 3 or 4, because it was that sort of game that we should have been getting sort of 3-4 goals. There would have been no excuse to come away from that match with a 1-0 win. So it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously, as the game progressed, we did have the kind of worrying incident when Saka had to be withdrawn, but we've kind of, covered the fact that hopefully it's just a knock. So, hopefully moving forward, we will have him. So we went 2-0 up on the 71st minute. What did you make of the goal? Because it was, for me, it was really, really decent work by Pepe. I think actually Nicholas actually intercepted a ball, and then obviously kind of drove into the box, did all the hard work, and then obviously Martinelli was in the right spot to kind of tuck it away. But how do you feel about Martinelli getting a goal, obviously coming back into the first team?
Yeah, no, brilliant. I think I was probably one of the whole majority of the Arsenal fan base when we see Lacazette starting, and we thought, I hope he grabs a goal tonight. That would be great. Not only to see after the difficulties he's been going through recently, but just also because it would do his world some good, and his confidence the world of good as well. I mean, he couldn't really miss, really, could he? Would have been a bit embarrassing for him if he did, but no, like you said, Pepe done all the hard work and just slotted the ball through to him, and there the open goal was. Hopefully this is just the start for him again. Hopefully he can get not only on the team sheet a lot more, but the what's the word I'm looking for? The score sheet. There we go. Got there in the end, and hopefully that's just a start. Obviously it's been a tough season for him, and for quite a long time now, us Arsenal fans have been sitting there wondering, what he has to do to get in this team. Like I said earlier, I just think he makes our attack look so much more of a threat going forward. When he's in there, he offers so much more in terms of work rate and energy. And hopefully we see a lot more of him, not just between now and the end of the season, but the seasons to come. He signed that new contract not so long ago, and I'm expecting big things from him. I think he has what it takes to go all the way. Like just going back to last night, going back to the goal quickly. Obviously, he couldn't do much wrong with the goal, but in terms of his confidence, huge. And it was nice to see that smile back on his face. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. And then obviously on the 85th minute, Lacazette was on absolute fire. Last night. It's really, really good just to kind of see him slot away chances, like that. I often worry, when he's kind of approaching a goal. I think his kind of overall play is so much, stronger than some of our other forwards. But it was just nice to kind of see him just be really clinical in last night's game. And obviously, a beautiful pass, by Partey, turn and pass, slotted him in, and he did the rest. But I've kind of got a question for you guys without kind of talking about that goal specifically. Just want to know your opinion. Moving forward for Thursday's game, who do you drop and who do you play up the top? Because you've got Martinelli now on the left. He's got a goal. He's came in. He's had some minutes. Lacazette at the moment kind of seems like he's undroppable, in terms of just his overall play and his goal scoring. But I'd just be interested to see what front three you guys would pick for Thursday night.
Well, I'll just start. I'll think I've probably got to go with Martinelli still on the left. After last night, I think he's just going to offer so much more energy, more direct, and he's quick as well. Can cause so many problems. He's hungry. He wants to cause those problems going forward, and he wants to get a goal. He wants to get an assist. I think personally offers a lot more than Aubameyang on that left wing as well, because as we know, Aubameyang is a striker anyway. It's his natural position, and he's more comfortable up front. I think that's when we get the most out of Aubameyang. I just feel when Aubameyang's on the left, he's not as involved in the game, and we don't see too much of him. And Aubameyang's not that player to be dribbling past players and cutting in from the wing. I just think his job is to make runs in behind from the centre and grab the goals for us. And I just think, like you said, Lacazette's undroppable at the moment. In form, confident, scoring the goals for us. And then I'd have to say probably it's a tough one, because I think Pepe's been doing a lot better recently. Obviously, again, he's one of those players which you don't know what version of him you're going to get in a game. Yeah. But he's been all right recently. But if Saka's fit and he's available, then you can't drop him, can you? He's such an important player for us, and it was what's going to be a huge game for us. You just can't drop him. But again, I'll only want him to start if he's 110% fit and ready. I'm sure Arteta is going to make that call. And I just despite Pepe doing really well recently and creating chances for us and scoring goals, I just think Saka's undroppable. He's such an important player. So that's the front three I'd go for. Martinelli out wide on the left, Lacazette as a centre forward, and then Saka on the right.
Stephen, over to you.
I think for me it depends on whether Smith Rowe or Odegaard are available. So obviously, if they're available, you put one of them in at number 10. And yes, I'd be the same. I'd go Martinelli, Saka, Lacazette. For me, Pepe thrives when he has space in behind to run into. I don't think he's going to get that against Slavia, because at the end of the day, they can sit back and have a 0-0 draw and go through. So they're not going to come out. They're going to sit back and they're going to make us go at them. So he's not going to have the space. Different if we get an early goal, then they have to come out and try and equalise. But I would say if Odegaard or Smith Rowe's fit, then you go Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, and Lacazette up front. If they're not fit, I'd go the same four, basically, that we had last night. Saka at number 10 worked. I don't know long term that I'd want to play him there. He was good, but I think naturally he is better out wide. So yeah, that's what I would go with.
Cool. We've jinxed it all now, haven't we? Can't wait to see Willian starting. Yeah, great.
Oh God, please no.
Yeah, please. I'll do the predicted lineup on Wednesday. He'll be in there, don't worry.
Yeah.
So the last goal then, G, obviously, I'll run through that very quickly. A lovely turn from Partey. Took the ball on the halfway line. Sublime turn. And the vision to pick out that pass, split the defence, and obviously he knew Lacazette was going to make the run. Lacazette ran onto it, and a lovely finish into the corner. And all I could think was, where was that on Thursday night? What about you guys? What did you think? Chris?
You go. All right, I'll start. Yeah. Well, I think we mentioned it earlier on, didn't we? Lovely turn by Partey, like you said, Stephen, and to pick out that pass which split the Sheffield's back line, and Lacazette already making that run. Lovely finish from Lacazette as well. Got a rad. Yeah, great stuff. It was quite easy, but Partey certainly made it look quite straightforward and easy. And just sort of touching on what I was saying a little while ago from Partey, I was beginning to see that a bit more from Partey now, that confidence, and I think he's shown us a few times his ability to pick out a pass is fantastic, and that's exactly what you need from midfield sometimes. And because he, as well as bringing that energy and that physical presence in the centre of midfield, He's great on the ball. I can pick out a great pass. I wish I could say the same about his shooting so far, but that's been that hasn't quite been there yet. He's working on it. I've seen him in training working on it. And hopefully we'll see a 30-yard screamer from him sooner rather than later. I'm sure we will. But yeah, hopefully it'll do the party the world of confidence, getting that assist last night and overall having a good game, in my opinion. And I just hope we can see a lot more from him now, because I think, I'm sure you guys will agree, we all know the quality that he has. We all know what he's capable of. We've seen it over the years when he was at Atletico Madrid. Fantastic, such a talent. And, on paper, one of the best central midfielders in the league. He's just got to start showing it now without these sort of injury setbacks, etc. And he just needs a clean run of games, getting minutes under his belt, and if he can get performances under his belt like last night, getting the assist, overall having a solid 90 minutes, then I'm sure he'll be a really, really important player for us moving forward. I've got no doubt about that, and I'm sure, despite all the frustrations that it's caused amongst the fan base, not seeing as much progression from him as we all would have hoped to have seen. I'm sure that all of us are, still excited to see what he has to offer. I remember he done an interview a few weeks back saying that the best is yet to come from him, and he's confident that will come soon. Can't take away the fact that he's had to move country, and he's getting settled into a new league, new surroundings. It's not easy for any player. I think that it's quite similar to Pepe. It's taken his time to settle in and to get going, but we're finally seeing a bit more from him now. That again, just like Partey, we've not seen Pepe at his full potential yet. In my opinion, I still think he has a lot more to offer. But when these players get fully up and running, up and going, and they're at their best, I think we've got a much stronger and much more confident team. Well, certainly Arteta's got at his disposal. So, great pass from Partey last night, and like I said, an overall solid performance. And then the finish from Lacazette, you can tell he's confident in front of goal at the minute. Sort of as a, I must admit, I think it was against Slavia, wasn't it? Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. When Laka hit the post, he was 1-on-1 with the keeper. Sometimes when Laka's in those situations, you don't know what the end result's going to be. But good finish from Laka for that third goal, and again, overall, a good team goal.
Yeah, I think just on the subject of Partey, for me, the first half he wasn't bad, but the second half was the first time I've thought, yeah, that's why we spent 45 million on him. And we can say, yes, it was only Sheffield United, but it doesn't matter who the opposition is. It was still a good performance. That was the party that was sort of seen at Atletico. Those sorts of turns, those sort of defense splitting balls. So, yeah, I mean, it bodes well, hopefully now that, and Arteta said it as well the other day, we should see the best out of him, certainly over the next few weeks. He should get stronger towards the end of the season, and hopefully then has a good pre-season going into next year. I think that kind of wraps up that match. I know, G, you didn't get to give your opinion there on that goal, but I'm conscious of time. Can you spare us another few minutes, Chris? I know you're sort of a wee bit tight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No worries. Go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, obviously now going into Thursday night, before last night, I know we both sort of had said we're not feeling overly confident, but then obviously last night we have a good win. I know certainly I'm sort of going now, yeah, I'm feeling a wee bit more confident. The tails will be up. They know they can play like that. What would you do team-wise, Chris? If you were Arteta after that performance, what would you change? What would you stick with, from last night?
Well, in an ideal world, I'd have Tierney back in, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I suppose just going back to last night, that was the one negative after the game. Arteta was asked about Tierney, and it looks like his season could be over, which is really sad. I'm sure most of them as well, all of the Arsenal fan base will be gutted, because he's just such an important player for us, and the way we play, and the way that we set up, and the way that he plays every game. You know, he's one of those players that gives 110%, offers so much going forward. And yeah, it's just such a crucial part of the team. So obviously we're not going to be seeing him on Thursday, which is a shame. So obviously I wouldn't probably have Xhaka at left back again, even though he had a solid game last night. But Thursday's a different story, and you know, I'd have him back in central midfield alongside Partey, and I'd probably put maybe Cedric at left back, because I just think he's done well there when he's played there. I know you could maybe argue Saka should play there. I mean, I guess I totally wouldn't be against Saka playing on the left full-back position with Martinelli up front as well on the left. I mean, it was a good partnership, shown that before, and then maybe having Pepe on the right winger position. That's quite strong. But I just think Saka offers a lot more going forward. That's his strongest position. That's where he's obviously more comfortable as well. So I'd probably have Cedric at left back, starting Leno in goal, obviously. Like I've said to a few people, Mari hasn't really put a foot wrong for us. I think he's been solid overall, and it's 50-50 whether you start him or Gabriel at centre-back. I think, bearing in mind, I just think Gabriel's overall game, he offers a bit more defensively, and I just think he's a bit more comfortable. And obviously he's had the break now as well, after not featuring last night. So got some fresh legs there, because I'm sure it'll be Holden again on Thursday. So it's probably important we have some fresh legs at centre-back. So I'd probably bring Gabriel back in. You know, even though, like I said, Mari's done really well, so has Gabriel. He hasn't really put a foot wrong for us over the season. I think he's been one of our best defensive performers. So yeah, I'd have Gabriel holding, and then Bellerin at right back probably. Now obviously he's had a break as well. And like I said a moment ago, Xhaka, Partey in the centre of midfield. That's obviously our strongest partnership, our strongest midfield duo. And then, as we said a few moments ago, front three would be Martinelli, Laka, and Saka. And then, if either Smith Rowe or Odegaard are back fit and ready, then one of them as a number 10, probably Odegaard if he's okay, because I just think he's obviously much more experienced and probably the better player out of the two. So yeah, that's what I'd go for. I think that's, you know, the strongest team we could select, and you know, no doubt I'm going to be way off with that. I always am with my team predictions and stuff. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see anyway.
Are you confident we'll get the result?
Quietly. You know, you never know what you're going to get, do you, from Arsenal, especially when, you know, they're in a crucial game. A lot of pressure is going to be on the team. They know how much, the importance, should I say, of this fixture for our season, because we all know the Premier League's a write-off now for us. We're not going to get anywhere in that, and the Europa League is our only path to the Champions League. And well, we don't need to sit here and talk about how significant getting back into the Champions League is. We all know how crucial it is for this football club to get back there. So the Europa League is a must for us this season. It's not going to be easy, and personally, as sad as it is for me to say, you know, I can't see us going all the way, if I'm being perfectly honest. But prove me wrong, Arsenal. Prove me wrong, and I'll be keeping my fingers crossed, and hopefully we go there and get the job done.
Okay. I just have a couple more questions for you, and then obviously if G has any. Obviously, it's not been a great season. You know, we can't hide that. We're sitting down in 9th place, and I don't. Well, actually, the Everton game's not going to make any difference. We're sitting in 9th. What do you think's been the big problem this season? You know, where do you think the issues have been? Is it Arteta? Is it the players? Is it, you know, what's gone wrong?
Well, first of all, my first point would be, you know, and I'm not trying to make any excuses for the team's performances, for Arteta, etc. But it's been I'm sure we can all agree, it's been one funny season, hasn't it? You know, it's been so unpredictable. With the pandemic going on, timings of fixtures and of the season as a whole has been everywhere and changed, and that's obviously had an impact on injuries. We've seen a lot more injuries and changes to lineups every week, etc. It's not, when you're looking at Arteta, it's, he hasn't even had a full season yet. He would have obviously by the end of this season, but he's still to have his full season. He hasn't really had a proper pre-season with these players yet, or should I say a pre-season in normal circumstances. It's not been ideal. None of it has, and it would have affected the run up to the season, and during the course of the season the pandemic's affected it a lot, and it's not been ideal. It's not been smooth, and I just think that's probably played a major role, as it has with most football clubs. We've seen it with Liverpool, obviously the main standout, where they've got such a good squad, good manager, and they've suffered so many injuries. The fixtures that have all been close together haven't helped, and it doesn't take an expert to figure out that the pandemic's played a huge part this season, and it's been difficult for all involved. But then you put on top of that it's Arteta's first full season with the squad. He's only had a couple of transfer windows to get some players in that he wants to work with, that he wants to use as part of this process going forward. And there's still players at this football club that he doesn't want here. It's as simple as that. And there's still footballers at this football club that don't want to be here. I think we've made a good start in terms of shipping some of them out. We saw that in January with the likes of Sokratis, Mustafi, Ozil, and obviously Klassenak's still out on loan at the minute, but as far as I'm aware, he's not part of the plans moving forward. So he'll be found a new home come the summer. Be interested to see what happens with the likes of Guendouzi and Torreira, obviously, as well. It seems like Torreira is going to be finding a new home as well. He's obviously been going through a difficult time with his family, losing his mum. And yeah, I just think there's so much more still to be done. And I'm probably going to be absolutely battered for saying this. But, it's just my opinion. It is, I don't know if I want to say it now. It is just part of the process. And I get the frustration. I really, really do. I'm an Arsenal fan, just like everyone else. And when we lose a game, when we see those spineless performances with some of our biggest players looking like they don't give a damn, wearing the badge, it hurts, and it makes us all upset, and it makes us question them. It makes us question the manager. Always going to question the manager. He's the one setting this team up. He's the one selecting them. He's the one giving them the instructions and training them at Colney every week. But I just feel that you could have one of the best managers in charge of this football club. You could have a Guardiola, you could have a Klopp, you could have anyone in charge of these players, but we would not see any difference whatsoever. We would not see any different to what we're seeing with Arteta in charge right now. And there's just so much work still to be done, in my opinion. And I think personally, all right, you're going to look at the table and you're going to be like, are you sure, Chris? But I think the positives outweigh the negatives when it comes to Arteta and the work that he's done so far. He's come in difficult circumstances, led us to an FA Cup final, got us the FA Cup. I think that last season Emery was in charge and he got the sack and we brought Arteta in, did you really see us winning a trophy at the end of that season? Let's be honest, because I didn't. I didn't see no hunger within that team. I didn't see no passion. But Arteta turned things around very quickly, and credit to him, credit to his staff for that. And obviously we got the Community Shield pre-season as well. Now, two big positives. Of course, it is lovely to get two trophies in. especially the FA Cup. We all know how important and how special that is to this football club. But we're seeing now in what has been a difficult season for so many reasons, as I said, there was always going to be bumps along the road, and there were always going to be obstacles along the way. And I think we often forget that Arteta is still new to this. He's still got so much to learn. I know he's learned a lot already through his coaching badges and getting into his coaching role, learning so much off Pep Guardiola at Man City, and even various managers around the highly respected managers in football have said that the talent of Mikel as a manager, excuse me, is clear for all to see, and they know he's going to go right to the very top. And I just feel that he needs time. And look, I can hold my hands up and I'll sit here and I'll say I said exactly the same thing about Emery. But the thing with Emery is, in the end, you could just see the players weren't playing for him. He'd lost the dressing room. But it's such a vast difference to what we're seeing with Mikel now. The players who do interviews with the media every week are bigging Arteta up, saying he's a fantastic coach. He's brilliant to work with. We love working with him. And, I just think he's got the dressing room, Arteta, despite the disappointing results and the question marks along the way and hitting those brick walls every now and again. I still think the players are playing for him. I still think the players want him to be the manager. And I still believe that the board want him to be the manager of Arsenal Football Club moving forward for at least now anyway. I just think the situation's very different comparing it to Unai Emery and things we've seen in the past. I just think, like I said, for me, the positives outweigh the negatives. We've seen a lot more progress under Arteta than we did under Emery. And his vision is clear. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what he wants to bring. I love his mentality as well. He's brought that sort of strictness back to the football club as well. Put the players in their places. And I just think with another window or two under his belt and having the opportunity to have a full season, a full pre-season with the players and his coaching staff and the board, working out what they want to do in terms of squad, the vision in the long term, I just think he can go a long way here, and I really, really hope he does, because I really, really like Mikel. He was a fantastic footballer, and I think he's a fantastic manager as well, who's going to go places in the future. I think he's still young, and I just think, credit for him coming here and taking the job, because it was difficult circumstances, a really, really big ask as well, and I just think he's done really well considering the circumstances so far as well. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for him, and I'd love to see him take his team places in the future. I really do.
Okay. One more sort of question for me. This is sort of a two-part one. I want you to think, the first part's kind of your opinion as a fan, not as a journalist. And then the second part will be based more sort of around your journalistic side. So where do you think we need to strengthen the squad? What positions do you think are the priority? So that's the sort of the fan part. And what rumours are you hearing about transfers? Obviously, coming out of the club from, albeit, from your own sort of research and from any of the other journalists you may be speaking to. What are the rumours that you're hearing?
So from a fan point of view, the places we need to strengthen, obviously a backup left back needs to come in, because it's safe to say now we can't rely on Kieran Tierney all the time with his injury history. And we miss him so much when he's not in the squad, so we obviously need a strong number two as a backup to play for when Kieran isn't available. And I think we'll get that done. Like I said, Kolasinac's still on loan, so technically we could still use him when he comes back. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen, he's not in Mikel's plans. So, you got a gate crasher there, G. And I think we obviously will have to wait and see what happens with Luiz come the end of the season. This contract talk still got to happen with him, but I personally believe that we need to get a centre back in to partner Gabriel. And I know we could maybe argue that Saliba should come straight in at the end of the season and fill that space where Luiz is at the moment and play him alongside Gabriel. But I guess that we'll have to wait and see how he does when he comes back and reports for pre-season. Personally, from what I've been seeing of Saliba out on loan in France, he's been absolutely fantastic. So, what else does he have to do to get a place in this team? But I just think that particularly, obviously, say we lose Luiz, he doesn't extend his contract, he doesn't stay, then we'll need another right-sided centre-back to come in. But again, like I said, that probably will depend what happens with Saliba and Luiz. Lots of talk about Bellerin leaving in the summer. And I've seen quite a few journalists come up with that one that he's open to leaving, and there's quite a few interested clubs in him. Personally, I think it's a sad one with Hector, because before he suffered that really nasty injury, he was one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League, and it really excited me when he first came on to the scene under Wenger. And I thought he's fantastic, but he's been unfortunate with injuries, and he's not quite the same player. He's not quite the same Bellerin as we have seen in the past. And when Cedric and when Chambers have played at right back, they've looked a lot more solid and a lot more better overall than Hector. So I think if we could find a suitable club for Hector and we can get a decent fee in, then we should look at that. I've seen the links to Hakimi, who plays for Inter Milan. Really, really good player, really strong right back. Can also play as sort of a wing back role as well. But it looks like it'll be a tough one to get over the line. He's really important to Conte and Inter Milan. So we'll have to see where that one goes. But we've been linked to Lamptey, Brighton, Max Aarons, all really exciting young players who can offer us a lot more, I feel, and have a lot more potential. So we'll have to see where that one goes. So definitely should be looking at a right back. Coming to central midfield, I like Xhaka. I haven't been his biggest fan in the past, I must admit, but he's grown on me a lot this season. Looks much more improved under Mikel. Been really important for us, but I'd love to see sort of a more top class player come in to play alongside Partey. I've seen rumours of Basuma from Brighton. Maybe we're looking at him. I think it'd be a fantastic partner for Partey. Tall, strong, physical presence. Good dribbler, offers a lot going forward as well. Good passer, great work rate as well. So I can just picture him and Partey in midfield. I think it'd offer us a lot defensively and a lot going forward as well. And they obviously can offer a lot of energy in the 90 minutes as well. Two powerhouses. And going forward, I personally, and I don't want to sound too harsh again, this is just as a fan speaking, I just don't think Willian deserves to another season at this football club at this rate. I think I understand that it's been difficult for him. I understand that he's had to try and fit into a new team and a new system, but I just don't know what he offers at the moment. He slows our game down. He hasn't scored for us so far, I don't think. Apart from a few assists here and there, I just think overall he's been really poor. And, someone like Martinelli deserves to be in front of him by a mile. So, again, it would depend on what happens with Odegaard, because obviously he's still on loan, but I want to see him tied down to a permanent deal here at the Emirates. Absolutely fantastic player, and would improve us so much going forward. In terms of Ceballos, another player on loan from Madrid, I don't think we should look at getting him in on a permanent. I mean, I guess if we could get him on a cut price deal, he might be a good squad player. But apart from that, he's not a starter for us, or at least he doesn't deserve to be based on what I've seen overall. I mean, we've been linked with a few wingers, but I just don't know where we'd fit them in with obviously Smith Rowe, Saka, Pepe, Martinelli all playing in the wide areas. It would have to be someone who would, knock them out of the way and come straight in. So we're talking about a top-class, world-class winger. But at the moment, I think with Saka, Pepe, Martinelli, we're fairly strong in those areas. Lots of rumours about Lacazette potentially being sold if his contract isn't sorted out. Again, I think if we can get a reasonable fee in for him, that should be looked at. And maybe then we can look at bringing another striker in. So there's lots of things to be worked on. Again, Arteta said a few weeks back that they've got a plan in place, and they've been talking about it a lot in ahead of the summer. So we'll have to wait and see. It's not going to be as easy as previous summers because of obviously the financial restrictions that COVID has caused and the effects of the pandemic, as I'm sure we'll see with most clubs. But I'm sure if we can raise a few funds and get some of the other dead wood out the door, then hopefully we can bring some top quality in that Mikel wants to work with going forward, and can add a lot more to this team. And just speaking from a journalistic point of view, again, Hakimi's going around. That name for right back's been going around for the last couple of weeks. Lamptey, Buendia, that name's still popping up. And again, I think we could maybe be looking at him, but it will depend on what happens with Odegaard. And the other obvious one that's been mentioned, and I actually mentioned it today, I think Sam Dean mentioned it, Oderson Edouard at Celtic, a French striker, could potentially be one we're looking at, especially if Lacazette and Nketiah leaves. So yeah, one to maybe keep an eye on. But of course, speaking about these positions, it just depends on so many things. If we can get someone out to then bring someone in, create space, talking about a new striker, but if Balogun's signing a new contract, then he's obviously been guaranteed game time. So, I could be saying all this now and it turns out to be a lot different in the summer. But hopefully we'll see a few top quality players come in, because it's been a disappointing season and we really need to bolster and strengthen quite urgently. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it'll be another exciting summer.
Okay, thank you. Brian, the only issue I have with Basuma and co is that they will be away for a month, obviously with the AFCON.
African Cup of Nations.
You guys who are watching, you guys watching live, if you have any questions, drop them in now quickly. G, you any questions for Chris?
Obviously, just all that kind of information with regards how the squad is looking and how we can strengthen kind of leads me on to just one question that I've got. It was a question that was put to us in our last live show, and that is, if you could sign one player, what position and who would the player be? Obviously, it's not really realistic because we're looking for more players to come in, more players to go out. But if you could sign one, what position and what player of your choice?
Ooh, it's tough. It's tough. I think it would probably have to be. I mean, hopefully it counts because he's actually currently at the club. But I mentioned him a minute ago. I just think making Odegaard a permanent is so important because since joining in January, he's been breath of fresh air to have in this team. We weren't creating many opportunities from midfield, not scoring enough goals, and obviously since Ozil's been left out of the team and hasn't really had a role to play for us, we've been missing that creativity and that energy. He's much more of a hard worker, is Odegaard, compared to Ozil, and I just think his overall attitude is better, offers a lot more going forward. He can score goals as well as picking out players and creating goals as well. And I just, from his attitude, just from what I've heard about him and the interviews he's done, seems very happy here, loves working under Arteta, and I think Arteta's style of play suits him really well as well. So, that's the sort of player you want. He's come from Spain after a difficult time at Madrid, but as soon as he arrived in North London at the Emirates, he's got his head down, worked really hard, and it's paying off. He's been fantastic, and long may it continue, and hopefully it'll continue in red and white going forward.
Yeah, he seems to be very much at home. He looks like he's settled very quickly. Right, guys, anybody who has any questions, quickly drop them in now. Chris, it's your turn now. What I'd like to do now is give you an opportunity. Have you a question for us?
Yeah, I've managed to keep it saved in my mind. I'm not sure if you've been asked this one already in previous shows, but just going back to Arteta, obviously I gave my views on how I feel about him and the work he's done so far. Taking all of the things that I said into consideration, obviously the difficulties that he's had to overcome, not just sort of this season, but the difficult circumstances when he first came in as well. And just from overall what you've seen of him so far, the work that he's done, do you believe in him still? Do you think he is the right man to take us forward? And do you think he ultimately will be the man to take us forward? Have you been impressed with him so far?
You can pick who you want to go first.
I'll go with G first.
Right. So I have to be honest. Obviously, when Wenger left, it was always going to be a difficult situation in terms of, who would come in and who would replace him just because of the legacy and the length of time he was at Arsenal, and obviously just what he transformed in terms of the club, So with the appointments moving forward, I have to admit I was a little bit underwhelmed, with the kind of managerial appointments. I think after a couple of, obviously Emery, Lundberg and so forth, I was really looking for us to bring in an experienced manager. I wasn't massively confident or even really kind of enthusiastic, when the Arteta link happened, the Patrick Vieira, the kind of Thierry Henry, given, some of the, they were club legends, but just in terms of managerial experience, I could really see the job that needed to be done. And I just felt like we really needed an experienced manager. Having said that, I think it's been clear he's come in. I think, obviously, two pieces of silverware has been fantastic. For me, he's still definitely the man moving forward for Arsenal. And the reason why I say that is because you said something earlier in the show and you touched upon it. And I share that same opinion. And that opinion is that regardless of what manager you bring into this team at this stage, whether it's Klopp, whether it's Pep, whether, world-class manager from around the world, I cannot see them coming in and doing much more than what Arteta's done. He won 2 pieces of silverware, in half a season. And the job that actually needs to be done in this club. We did our squad review the other day, and of a 25-man squad, I think me and Stephen agreed that only maybe 13 or 14 players, were at the level that should be playing for Arsenal. So he has a huge job in his hand. And I just think ultimately we can't really judge him until he's actually been fully backed by the board. He's had a couple of transfer windows, under his belt, and he actually has the players that he wants at the club. So I am very disappointed with the season we've had, particularly in the league. Hopefully, we can tip off the season and finish the season on a positive note by lifting, the Europa League. But in terms of Arsenal moving forward, with him, I definitely think he's still the right man. I've had my doubts at certain points in the season when we have put in certain poor performances, but I think, we are looking for the long term, for the long-term future. He is a young manager. He comes with, a lot of clout, not so much in terms of what he's done, but, huge kind of accolades from other, professional managers who have been in the business many years. And I think he's got all the kind of attributes and credentials that will make him a world-class manager. I just hope that Arsenal actually back him in the transfer market, because I think without investment, I think his job will be very, very difficult. So in a nutshell, I'm still behind him. There've been moments when I haven't been, but I'm still very much behind him. I just think that certain things need to be done from a club's perspective in order for him to be as successful as I think he will be in the future.
Stephen, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, you used to have kind of summed up a lot of it. I was the same as G, when Emery first went and Lundberg took over and we were looking, for me, I wanted Allegri. For me, the issue was the defence. And I thought someone like Allegri could come in, sort that defence out. I wasn't happy when we went for Arteta. I really wasn't. But he grew on me. Obviously, getting the FA Cup bought him some time with the fans and stuff. This season has been such a disappointment. It really has. I can see what he wants to do. I can see that he's obviously had issues. I mean, the first half of the season, he still had the likes of Ozil and Socrates around the squad who, they weren't included. So you guarantee they were being a bad influence. They had to be. There's no way they were turning up going, oh, yeah, I'm happy. This is great. There's absolutely no way. So he had that to contend with. The second half of the season, once they left, we certainly seem to have been a lot better, albeit we've had a few bad results recently. But yeah, I mean, I still believe that he has the ability to be a top manager. I think, we need to get this season over. I just kind of want the season to be done now. The league's done, and I've said before, throw in some of the kids, give them some game time over the next few games in the league. Concentrate on the Europa League. If we can win it, great. If we can't, well, we go again next season. As G said, he needs to be backed in the summer. And, other people are saying, get rid of him. And he needs to be backed. If he's not going to be backed in the summer, it doesn't matter who they bring in because they're not going to back anybody. If they're not going to spend big with Arteta, who they've put so much faith in, they're not going to spend big for anybody. And we might as well just give up. So, yeah, I mean, they back him in the summer. We go next season. I've said this is a results business. And the results haven't been going our way. I think if we'd been sitting 6th, 7th, the fans might have been a little bit more forgiving. But we have a very divided fan base, as you know. And with a lot of them, there's no forgiveness. They're Arteta out or they're Arteta in. There's no sort of middle ground with people. To me, he has until Christmas. If I don't see a big improvement, next season, and I don't see us. I'm not saying we have to win the league next year, but we have to be up there, in terms of sort of the top 5. Really, 4 is, for me, top 4 next season is the minimum. If we don't get top 4 next season, I think he's kind of, it hasn't worked. And I think if we get top 4 next season, the season after, we have to be challenging. And that's kind of my opinion. But I think top 4 is minimum standard. But if we're going into the Christmas period this year and we're sitting 10th in the league, no, I don't know how much more I could support him. Yeah. At times his lineups are questionable, his substitutions are questionable, but I give him the benefit of the doubt and I try to be as supportive as I can. And like you both, there's times you question it and you go, I don't know, is he the right man? But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's give him a summer transfer window. But he's got to make progress next season. He really has, or else not just me, but I would imagine that a lot of people who are sort of very firmly in the Arteta in camp will start to go over to the Arteta out. What I would say is that if we sack him now, before the window, my attitude, and I said this to G yesterday, I think my attitude would be whoever comes in, I'd be that manager out straight away. Because you might as well just jump on the bandwagon now, because it's going to happen again. Without backing these managers, it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, maybe you guys get the same impression as well. Just looking into the club, it all seems to be calm at the moment. No one's getting ahead of themselves. They're all very much realistic. The players know, well, at least I hope I do, that this season's been far from good enough and nowhere near good enough, and it's not where this football club should be sitting in the league. And Arteta will know that, the board will know that, but like I said, they're keeping calm about it. They know it's a work in progress. They're trying to be realistic, and this season should be a huge wake-up call for the board, especially. They should be sitting there thinking, right, well, we've done maybe not even half of the job, quarter of the job. Yeah, we've shipped a few of the deadwood out, players that Arteta doesn't want. We've brought a few of them in, but now it's about keeping that up now, and I've always said, if we want to be competing right at the very top again against some of the best clubs in the world and the best clubs in the league, your Manchester Cities, your Liverpools, what have they done to get where they are? They've been ruthless. They've gone out there, backed their manager, spent money, and that's the explanation for it. On top of the hard work that's obviously gone on behind the scenes with Klopp and Pep. But I remember Arteta just saying exactly that not so long ago. He said in one of his press conferences, you see what your Liverpool and your Man Cities do. They've gone out there and they've spent a lot of money. They've got top class centre back in. You've obviously got your Van Dijk, which was obviously the most notable one when he first came, and he changed their whole defence. They looked so much better, much more confident, looked like a completely different team. And that's what we've got to do now. We've just got to be so ruthless moving forward and in the transfer market. And I really hope that the club can do that under Arteta, because he's, like you said, Stephen, like you said, G, you can see he's got an idea as to what he wants to achieve here and where he wants to take this club. And I like the approach he's taken and the strict approach he's brought back into the club. And there is, as he said when he first joined, about the whole non-negotiables. And if you want to be here, then you've got to show him no less than 110% on the training pitch and on the actual pitch during a game. You've got to give it your all and play with pride. And you can't expect anything less under Arteta. That is the way it's got to be. And like we have seen this season, there's still a few players here that I think aren't fully committed and aren't fully good enough to represent this football club. So I'm hoping we do see a very active transfer window in a couple of months. And like you said, Stephen, I think we'll probably give him up until Christmas. Probably give him maybe one more full season and see how we do once he's had obviously a full pre-season with the squad for the first time, and obviously after he's maybe got a few more players he doesn't want here and brought a few more players that he does want into this team and starts working with them and starts playing how he wants to play, with footballers who want to be here and who want to be part of the process moving forward. So no alarm bells ringing just yet for me, as I'm sure they're not for you too just yet either. But like you said, and like we all know, things have got to be improved, and hopefully we'll see them sooner rather than later. But I really hope it works out for Arteta. I really do.
Thank you. Okay, a couple of quick comments. Ryan, if we keep sacking manager, we will never improve. Absolutely. I know there's an argument that sort of the likes of Abramovich and stuff, but Abramovich was throwing money at all these Chelsea managers. We're not going to do that. Chris says, do we want to become like United after losing a legendary manager, bouncing from manager to manager every 18 months?
No,
surely stability with the manager is better for the next few years. Yeah, absolutely. And we just need the board to back him and not this 30 million transfer budget we've had for recent summer windows. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, last chance to get any questions in. I want to just say, Chris, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We've really appreciated it. And, it's been brilliant having you on. I know it's gone on quite a bit longer than we sort of planned for, but this quite often happens. And for once, it wasn't G just talking, so it was good. As always, thanks to our sponsor, the Matchday Shop. Dan at the Matchday Shop managed to open his doors again today. I don't know if anybody had seen that on Twitter. If you do want to go down and see him, you need to just give him a wee shout, make an appointment, and he will be ever so glad to see you in, get your memorabilia, get your merchandise from him. G, do you want to do your favourite part of the show now?
Yeah, go on then, throw it at me. So obviously massive thank you for Chris for coming on tonight's show. Really massively appreciate it. Thank you for all of those of you who are watching and kind of continue to watch our live streams, and massively appreciate all your support. So you can follow us on all our socials. So we are on Facebook, which is @CannonChatter. We're also on Instagram, which is @Cannon_chatter. Those of you who use the social platform Twitch, you can find us at Cannon Chatter. And most of you know us from Twitter. So our official Twitter account is @Cannon Chatter. Our individual Twitter accounts, Stephen's account is @SB Cannon Chatter. And my Twitter account is @GTalksArsenal. I'm sure most of you do follow Chris. Have you got Chris's Twitter handle on?
Don't have it, but Chris, if you want to give us a wee shout out and where people can follow you and where they can read your work as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what?
Yeah, I'll just throw my handle in there. Probably read it beneath me. Actually, it's at C Davison _AFC. That's my Twitter, and they can find most of my written work on the Arsenal Review website and at Soccer Lens. They're also on Twitter, so you can go for it. They're both in my bio, so
brilliant.
So super easy to find. And
Cool.
I'd just like to add, thank you for having me on your show, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyable to chat all things Arsenal with you. And yeah, I mean, it has gone over a little bit, but I think that's my fault more than anything. I do ramble on a little bit, so.
No, it's been.
Listen, I'm used to it with G every week. Don't worry. So listen,
cool.
There's no more questions coming in. Thank you, everybody that's watched live. Thank you, G, as always. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate the time. Hopefully we'll get you back on again someday. Been really, really good fun. For everybody watching live, thank you. For everybody who's watching this later on, thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop us a like, and we will be back on Wednesday night with our preview of the Slavia Prague game on Thursday. So we will see you then. So good evening, everybody.